Now that we're in the end game of One Piece, there's obviously going to be a lot of people making comparisons to Luffy's new power level. If you guys are not aware, please back out of this video because there will be some slight manga spoilers. But we have to discuss this because CBR dropped an article talking about 10 characters that are on Luffy's level in One Piece. Now this is news to me because when I was looking at Luffy's power level, I was saying, you know what, he's automatically in the top 10. You can make a case for top 5. I personally had him in my top 5, but apparently CBR believes that there are 10 characters in the One Piece world that are equal level to Luffy or around there. So let's just see what's going on. At number 10, CBR said that Luffy only narrowly defeated Kaido. Now I'm not actually mad at this because when we're talking about Kaido, we have to remember how many people he was boxing in Onigashima. He was boxing against the 9 Scabbards. He was boxing against Law and Kid and a lot of the other worst generation. He even had to deal with Big Mom when she initially pulled up to Wano. So he was boxing with everybody, and then at the same time, he is holding Onigashima up in the air while boxing a Yamato, while boxing a Gear 5 Luffy, while even boxing a Momonosuke. I mean, Kaido is fighting a plethora of opponents that can get down in the New World, and he still was reigning supreme for a long period of time in that fight. It wasn't until Luffy was able to unlock his Gear 5th form that he really went to work on Kaido. So I still would say that Kaido is around Luffy's level. And personally, I have Kaido slightly higher than Luffy, and here's why. There's no debate that Luffy in Gear 5 can defeat Kaido because we've obviously already seen it, and we already know that in that mode, he is pretty much unstoppable. Luffy's able to run on air, he's able to grab lightning. We saw him using an attack that was the size of an Onigashima itself, so we have to give him credit there. Luffy is a beast all around. But I do want to give Kaido points. Yes, Kaido had the ability to tank attacks because we know Kaido's durability is insane. But we also have to talk about how Zoro was scarring him and all of these things were going on. I mean, Kaido had a lot to deal with prior to dealing with Luffy. Would the same thing happen if he had fresh legs? I'm not sure because we do know that Luffy's Gear 5th form tires him out and Luffy's going to need a lot of time to rest. If it's a 1v1, Luffy's not going to have the option to say, Zoro, bail me out, Yamato, bail me out while I rest. He won't have those options available to him. So I still think that Kaido is slightly ahead of Luffy, but we do know that the Gear 5th form of Luffy is more powerful. It just would need more time. Luffy has to really train that mode a little bit more for me. At number 9, CBR said that Zoro has always been Luffy's rival. Now I know the Zoro fans are strong on this one. I've seen some of the craziest takes from the Zoro fans saying that Zoro was gonna beat Kaido and all of these things. Listen, I disagree with this. I think Zoro is incredibly powerful. I personally believe Zoro will end up being that second in command that lives up to the likes of a Raley and a Ben Beckman. But to say he is Luffy level is where I have a problem. Before I go in, let me just see what they have to say. Although lacking Luffy's versatility, Zoro's unspeakably high physical traits would make him a serious threat if the two ever fought. His armament haki is more than capable of fracturing Luffy's, especially given the potential behind Oden's legendary sword. I get it. Zoro is looking nasty now. But can we pump the brakes? Because if we're gonna give Zoro all of this credit on his armament haki, the same should be applied to Luffy. Because Luffy's armament haki, Luffy's conqueror's haki is way higher than Zoro's as presently constructed, because we know Zoro cannot even control his haki yet. Zoro cannot even control Enma yet. We have to pump the brakes on the Zoro hype. Zoro does have insane durability. The fact that he was able to tank a combo attack from Big Mom and Kaido, incredible. But Luffy's durability is in question? Are we serious? Zoro definitely is rising up in the ranks. Like I said, end of series Zoro, I could see him living up to the names of a Raley and a Ben Beckman. But Luffy is on a completely different level. Zoro definitely leveled up in Wano, but Luffy leveled up a couple of steps more because of the Gear 5th form, the ability to use Conqueror's haki consistently, and the fact that he was able to take down a Yonko. These are feats that Zoro has not demonstrated as of yet. He's powerful, but he's not Luffy level. Luffy level is different. That's top 10. Zoro to me is not a top 10 character in One Piece right now. At number 8, they said Kizaru and Luffy are due for a rematch. Maybe there's a new form of Kizaru that they've seen that I haven't seen. I think that Kizaru is definitely a powerful admiral because we obviously can talk about the Light Fruit. He was able to keep up with Raley, and as we know, he volunteered himself to go to Wano where he knew Big Mom and Kaido were, but I don't think he's keeping up with Luffy right now. Personally, I think Luffy's Sun God Nika form form is too much for Kizaru to deal with right now. That's where I stand at. I'm not saying that he's going to dog walk Kizaru, but Luffy is looking incredible. And the fact that he can grab lightning means that his speed has also elevated in the Gear 5th form. The mere Conqueror's Haki infusion is something that I would love to see Kizaru try to deal with, because we have not seen any Conqueror's Haki feats from Kizaru. I'm not saying he doesn't have it, but I haven't seen it. Kizaru is powerful, but I don't see him as top 10 right now. And if you're Luffy level, you have to be top 10. That's where I'm at. At number 7, CBR said that Big Mom's versatility is formidable. Okay, Big Mom being Luffy level, okay. I still think Luffy would beat Big Mom, but I do believe that Big Mom is definitely a top 10 character. We can put her in this conversation that's saying she's Luffy level. The thing that stood out to me is that Big Mom was fighting 2 powerful Worst Generation captains by herself, and she was also showing the ability to heal herself. These are 2 things that stood out to me in Wano, but I don't think Big Mom is really boxing with Kaido and everybody. I don't think she's boxing with Luffy, but she would give Luffy a run for his money, because I do think that her having Conqueror's Haki is going to help her keep up with Luffy to a certain extent. But once Luffy is going crazy in Gear 5, Big Mom's going to struggle, because Big Mom has yet to show us a Devil Fruit Awakening and has yet to show us great Conqueror's Haki infusion. I'm not saying she doesn't have it, but I want to see if she's still alive. Maybe she really doesn't have it, but I still think that she's a top 10 character in One Piece. I don't know, CBR said at number 6, Raley taught Luffy everything he knows, and they're exactly on the money. They are correct experience-wise. Raley is that guy. We've seen him box against Kizaru. We've seen him demonstrate his Haki feats. He was flexing back in the day when you saw him stopping Marco's attack with a finger. Raley's understanding of Haki is like nothing we really ever seen before. He literally was the right-hand man to Goldie Roger, who has one of the greatest Haki feats we have ever seen throughout the entire One Piece series, when him and Whitebeard clashed weapons. But is he ready for Luffy right now, as presently constructed, right now in this form? You know what? I'll say yeah, because of the experience. But I don't believe Raley would win against Luffy, only because he's outside of his prime. He knows what to look out for. He knows all of the Haki feats that Luffy would be trying to use against him, because Raley was the one that opened up those doors for Luffy to really elevate his game. Sheesh. Now it's getting even tougher, man. CBR said at number 5, Law and Luffy's alliance has officially ended. Because the alliance has ended, now we have to look forward to a Luffy and Law clash maybe happening towards the end of One Piece. But is Law Luffy level? I think that the Devil Fruit Awakening from Law has definitely opened up that conversation just a tad. But I want to see what they had to say about this. Law may not be able to scramble Luffy's limbs or put him in another body, though his combination of swordsmanship and shock abilities could devastate his former ally. The man's greatest disadvantage in their fight is that he isn't nearly as durable or physically strong. They said exactly what I'm thinking. Law is a fantastic Devil Fruit user. The fact that he was able to stop Big Mom, silence Big Mom, body Big Mom, force Big Mom to heal herself, and then have Kid push her out of Onigashima. I mean, Law's Devil Fruit Awakening is almost as crazy as Luffy's. Law extended his sword through Onigashima to the ground. I mean, Law is insane right now. But we do know that Law did point something out in his fight against Big Mom. He mentioned that it was hard to really damage her because Big Mom had incredible Haki. This is where I believe Law is struggling. I think Law has to up his Haki game, and maybe that means he has to get better as a swordsman as well, but his Haki is really what he's going to need if he's going to be called Luffy level, because we do know in Luffy's fight against Kaido, Kaido brought up the fact that Haki matters. Law kind of exposed this a little bit because he did say he struggled a little bit with Big Mom's Haki, but at the end of the day, his Devil Fruit Awakening prevailed. Would that same method hold out against Luffy in his Gear 5th form? At number 4, CBR said Shanks is perhaps the strongest Haki user ever. You guys already know, if you've seen any previous videos, I've made this statement, so I actually 100% agree with this. There's a lot pointing to Shanks being a top tier Haki user. Whether you have Admiral Aramaki running for his life with just Conqueror's Haki, you can see him clashing weapons with Whitebeard splitting the sky, you can see Shanks doing things like breaking down Whitebeard's ship. We can look at Shanks sailing on Roger's ship, and we know that Shanks was modeling his game after Goldie Roger, who happened to be also a supreme haki user. He's Mihawk's rival. I gotta give it to him. I think Shanks is one of the greatest haki users in One Piece, if not the greatest. We know when we're looking at Kaido's Fab 5, among the 5, Shanks is the only one that is still alive in the One Piece world. He stopped Kaido from getting to Marineford. We don't know what really happened, but it was stated that there was a skirmish going on, so we had to give them a little credit there as well. Shanks is crazy, so he's definitely around Luffy's level. I have him higher. At number 3, CBR said that Mihawk is likely as strong as an emperor. Is Mihawk Luffy level? I don't have a problem saying that. We just saw Mihawk's bounty review. We know that his bounty was sitting at 3.5 billion. So right now, Mihawk's bounty is higher than Luffy's. Just off of that alone, I would have to say, you know what, he's around that level. But again, bounties aren't everything, because Buggy's bounty is now around Luffy's level. We know Buggy can't box with Luffy based on what we were seeing with the cross guild situation. But again, I still believe that Mihawk, because he was Shanks' rival, because he is considered the greatest swordsman in the world with the best sword skills, he should be somebody that would give Luffy a tough time. I just need to see Mihawk go all out. That's something that I really need to see. Same with Shanks. At number 2, CBR said that Akainu is now the fleet admiral of the Navy. Yes, Akainu is a fleet admiral of the Navy. Because of that, he should be considered a top 10 character in One Piece. So I guess you can say that he is Luffy level in my eyes. But again, what happens with Garp? What happens with Sengoku? Are they past their prime? Yes. But even though they're past their prime, I still think that because of what Garp was able to do in his prime, I think that he should be in the conversation as well, just based off the haki feats, just the fact that he was around Roger tier in his heyday. Garp was going crazy. Sengoku even stopped Garp from approaching Akainu during the war. So there are a couple questions I have when you're talking about Akainu going up against Luffy. But I do believe that because it is stated that Akainu's devil fruit is one of the most destructive in the One Piece world, we've seen what it did to old sick Whitebeard. I do think that Akainu can still keep up with Luffy to a certain extent. Oh, at number 1, Blackbeard is the greatest scourge of the seas. Yes, Blackbeard being Luffy level, give or take. Yes, you gotta give it to him. We just saw what happened with Blackbeard in Amazon Lily. I mean, Blackbeard literally stopped Boa Hancock has Conqueror's Haki. Let's not sleep. She has Conqueror's Haki. But Blackbeard having the Yami Yami no Mi in conjunction with the Gurgur no Mi makes him super formidable. Even the great Dark King Silver's Raley said, listen, I'm out of my prime. Me out of my prime going up against Blackbeard, I don't think I can get the job done. Raley saying this is crazy. That's when I said, you know what, Blackbeard is certified. But again, baby Mihawk and baby Boa, I don't know what's going on with the Seraphims and Blackbeard. I don't know if Blackbeard is falling back, but we have to wait and see there as well. But Blackbeard is definitely Luffy level. Now you guys let me know down in the comment section below, which of these 10 characters do you think can box with Luffy? I still think that we have to wait and see with Zoro. Zoro, we have to give him a little bit more time to blossom, but he's on his way. He's not there yet to me. But with that, I'll see you guys next time.